As the first light of morning stretches across Texas's wild heart, a silent invasion is already underway. Feral hogs, descendants of domestic swine and Eurasian boar, move relentlessly through the undergrowth, their presence marked by churned earth and shattered roots. These animals, once confined to isolated pockets, have now spread across nearly every county in Texas, their numbers swelling into the millions. Feral hogs are ecological bulldozers, their powerful snouts ploughing through meadows and forests alike. In a single night, a sounder can devastate acres of habitat, consuming seeds, bulbs, and the eggs of ground-nesting birds. Their appetite is insatiable, their impact profound, leaving behind a landscape scarred and struggling to recover. The damage extends beyond the visible. Hogs disrupt the delicate balance of soil microbes, compacting earth and reducing its ability to absorb water. Streams and wetlands become muddied, their banks collapsing under the weight of repeated trampling. Native plants, already pressured by drought and competition, struggle to re-establish themselves in the wake of this relentless disturbance. Wildlife pays a heavy price. Ground-nesting birds lose their eggs to hungry hogs, while small mammals and reptiles are displaced from their burrows. The intricate web of life, woven over centuries, begins to unravel, each thread pulled loose by the hog's ceaseless foraging. Even larger animals feel the effects. Deer and armadillos, once able to rely on predictable food sources, must now compete with hogs for acorns, roots, and tubers. The competition is fierce, and the balance of the ecosystem shifts with every passing season. Predators, too, are drawn into this unfolding drama. Coyotes and bobcats, ever adaptable, begin to track the movements of hogs, learning their patterns and testing their defences. Yet, the sheer size and aggression of adult hogs make them formidable adversaries, and only the youngest or weakest fall prey. The invasion ripples outward, touching every corner of the ecosystem. Beavers find their dams undermined by rooting hogs, while amphibians lose breeding pools to silt and debris. The landscape, once shaped by the slow hand of nature, is now in constant flux, reshaped by the relentless advance of these invasive swine. Native flora suffers as well. Wildflowers and saplings, vital for pollinators and future forests, are uprooted and consumed before they can mature. The loss of plant diversity cascades through the food web, reducing habitat and nourishment for countless insects, birds and mammals. Yet amidst the destruction, new dynamics emerge. Coyotes, ever watchful, begin to adapt their hunting strategies, targeting vulnerable piglets and scavenging the remains of hogs lost to disease or injury. The ecosystem, though battered, begins to respond. Predators and prey locked in a new and uncertain balance. Nature's challenges compound the struggle. Drought, flood and storm test the resilience of every creature. But the hogs persist, their numbers undiminished by hardship. Their adaptability is both their greatest strength and the ecosystem's greatest threat. In this unfolding story, the invasion of feral hogs stands as a formidable challenge, one that tests the limits of resilience and adaptation. Yet, within this struggle, new alliances are forged, and the wild heart of Texas endures, shaped by the ceaseless interplay of predator and prey, destruction and renewal. Feral hogs are an unstoppable force, reshaping the land wherever they roam. Each year, their relentless activity causes over $3 billion in damage across the United States. In Texas alone, more than $500 million is lost annually as these animals tear through fields, leaving devastation in their wake. A single sounder, sometimes dozens strong, can obliterate acres of crops in a matter of hours, leaving behind only churned mud and broken stems. Their powerful snouts dig deep, uprooting trees and stripping the soil of nutrients, which weakens the land for seasons to come. Native grasslands, once vibrant with wildflowers and grasses, are left scarred and barren, unable to recover before the next invasion. Wildlife is forced to flee as hogs outcompete them for food, destroy nesting sites and disrupt delicate ecological balances. Ground nesting birds lose entire generations as eggs are devoured and nests trampled underfoot. Their wallowing erodes stream banks, sending sediment downstream and clouding the water, which suffocates aquatic life and disrupts fragile habitats. Polluted waterways threaten fish, amphibians, and countless other species that depend on clean water for survival. Even apex predators are challenged by the ferocity and numbers of these invaders, altering the natural order of the ecosystem. As hogs reshape the land, invasive plants take hold in the disturbed earth, further displacing native species and accelerating ecological decline. Night after night, their activity spreads, leaving a trail of destruction that grows with each passing season. The feral hog is not just a nuisance. It is a relentless, transformative force of nature, reshaping Texas in its own image. With every year, the threat intensifies. The land bears the scars, and the need for change becomes ever more urgent. For decades, Texas ranchers and land managers relied on hunting as their primary weapon against the relentless spread of feral hogs. Each year, thousands of hogs fell to rifles and traps, yet the population only seemed to grow stronger, more elusive. These intelligent animals adapted quickly, learning to avoid open fields during daylight and shifting their movements to the cover of darkness. Hunters found themselves outmaneuvered as hogs slipped through thickets and vanished into the shadows. With every passing season, the hogs multiplied, their numbers swelling beyond control. Traditional methods were failing, and the land bore the scars of their unchecked invasion. Then, in 2014, a subtle shift caught the attention of wildlife researchers. Hog nests, once teeming with piglets, were found abandoned, disturbed and eerily empty. Motion-activated cameras captured the mystery unfolding at night. The culprit was not a human, nor another hog, but a native predator, coyotes. These agile 30-pound hunters had begun targeting the most vulnerable members of the hog population, piglets. Even under the vigilant gaze of 200-pound sows, coyotes pressed their advantage. The footage revealed a remarkable level of coordination. Coyotes worked in silent teams, communicating with subtle glances and body language, executing complex maneuvers to outwit their prey. One coyote would boldly distract the sow, darting in and out of her reach, while others slipped behind to snatch piglets in a matter of seconds. Their tactics were swift, precise, and devastatingly effective. Dr. Michael Bodenchuk, a leading wildlife biologist, described this as the most advanced adaptive behavior he had ever witnessed in coyotes. Their intelligence and adaptability were on full display. Over time, coyotes refined their strategy, honing their skills with each hunt. They became specialists in exploiting the vulnerabilities of feral hogs. Most attacks occurred at dawn, when the sows, exhausted from a night of foraging, were least alert. The misty fields became a silent battleground. The efficiency of these hunts was astonishing. In mere moments, a coordinated pack could reduce an entire litter, shifting the balance in the ongoing struggle. For the first time, the relentless advance of feral hogs met a natural check. The ecosystem itself was responding, with coyotes stepping into a role no one had anticipated. Once seen as a nuisance, coyotes had become an unexpected ally, nature's own answer to the hog invasion. As the sun rises over the Texas plains, a new chapter unfolds. Could this remarkable partnership between predator and land be the breakthrough Texas has been searching for? In the heart of Texas, a subtle but powerful alliance is reshaping the battle against feral hogs. Scientists, using advanced tracking and DNA analysis, soon confirmed what ranchers had only suspected. Coyote predation on hog piglets is not just occasional, but widespread and significant. Studies conducted across Texas and Georgia revealed piglet DNA in up to a third of coyote diets, highlighting their crucial role as natural population regulators. Ironically, for decades, state policies incentivized the removal of coyotes, paying bounties that inadvertently dismantled the ecosystem's best defense against the hog onslaught. In one Texas county, the coyote population plummeted by 60%. The result was dramatic. Feral hog numbers surged, tripling in just a few years, and leaving farmland devastated. This turning point forced wildlife managers to reconsider their approach. The new strategy? Collaborate with nature, rather than fight against it. Modern technology now plays a supporting role. Remotely operated smart traps, equipped with infrared cameras, allow managers to capture entire sounders of hogs efficiently and humanely, minimizing escapes and collateral damage. But the real breakthrough lies in protecting coyotes themselves. Recognizing them as indispensable partners, wildlife managers now prioritize their survival, understanding that a healthy coyote population is the linchpin of long-term hog control. In Atascosa County, this integrated approach has been put to the test. Adult hogs are targeted with traps, while coyotes are left to naturally thin out piglet numbers, creating a balanced, self-sustaining system. The results are striking. Crop losses from hogs, once exceeding 600 acres annually, have dropped to nearly zero, restoring both productivity and ecological health. As Dr. Vance explains, coyotes aren't a supplement to our strategy. They are the strategy. Their presence is now seen as a cornerstone of effective land management. By embracing this alliance, Texas is witnessing a remarkable recovery. Fields once ravaged by hogs now teem with life, and the ecosystem's natural rhythms are returning. The war against feral hogs is far from over, but for the first time there is genuine hope, rooted in the resilience of nature and the wisdom of working alongside it. Nature, technology, and human ingenuity, each playing a distinct role, are now united in a coordinated effort that may finally tip the balance. The unstoppable invasion of feral hogs may, at last, have met its match, thanks to a new alliance forged in the wild heart of Texas. Before the dawn of modern intervention, the Texas prairie was already witnessing a silent transformation, one that would forever alter its wild heart. The origins of the feral hog invasion trace back to the earliest European explorers who, in the 1500s, released domestic pigs into the untamed wilds of what would become Texas. These pigs, robust and resourceful, quickly adapted to their new environment, blending into the brush and woodlands, their presence barely noticed at first. Over generations, they transformed, growing wilder, more elusive, and perfectly suited to the diverse Texas terrain, from open prairies to shadowy riverbanks. As decades slipped by, their numbers grew steadily, each new litter adding to a swelling tide that moved quietly across the land. By the late 20th century, the population exploded, spurred by intentional releases for sport hunting and accidental escapes from rural enclosures. The hogs found new frontiers to conquer. Their advance was relentless, with herds expanding their range by nearly 10 miles each year, traversing rocky hills, dense forests, and arid plains with equal ease. Today, feral hogs roam freely through more than 240 of Texas's 254 counties, thriving in environments as varied as sun-baked ranchlands and lush river valleys. From above, the evidence of their passage is unmistakable. Fields torn asunder, creek banks eroded, and woodlands scarred by their relentless rooting. Under the cover of darkness, sounders, family groups, emerge, their snouts churning the earth in search of roots, insects and tender shoots, leaving a patchwork of disturbed soil in their wake. The relentless foraging of hogs forces native wildlife, quail, turkey and deer, to compete for food and shelter, their habitats increasingly fragmented and resources diminished. Yet the story of the feral hog is not solely one of destruction. It is also a testament to their extraordinary adaptability and survival instincts. These animals flourish in every corner of Texas, from the parched expanse of the west to the dense pine forests of the east, adapting to each new challenge with remarkable resilience. Their unchecked rise serves as a stark warning. When the balance of nature is disrupted, the consequences ripple outward, reshaping entire ecosystems. The legacy of the feral hog now shapes every conservation strategy and every alliance among native species as the land itself adapts to this formidable invader. To understand how the feral hog became Texas's most formidable invader is to unlock the key to restoring balance, ensuring the future of the prairie and all who call it home. Across Texas, feral hogs have evolved into consummate survivors, their adaptability evident in every corner of the state's diverse terrain. In the parched brushlands of the south, their bristled bodies blend seamlessly with the dusty earth. They navigate dense thickets of mesquite and prickly pear, using their compact frames to slip through the tightest gaps, minimizing exposure to predators and the relentless sun. Here, hogs excavate deep wallows, capturing scarce moisture and cooling their bodies. Their acute sense of smell allows them to detect underground water, and they dig tirelessly, unearthing hidden springs and damp soil long after surface water has vanished. In the shadowy pine forests of East Texas, their tactics shift. Night vision reveals their preference for darkness, as they emerge after dusk to avoid daytime heat and human activity. Moving in disciplined sounders, they follow established trails, communicating through grunts and squeals to maintain cohesion and alert one another to danger. The forest floor becomes a banquet. Hogs root through leaf litter, unearthing acorns, tubers, and fungi. Their snouts, equipped with sensitive receptors, detect the faintest scent of food beneath the soil. When resources dwindle, their omnivorous appetite takes over. They consume small reptiles, amphibians, insects, and even the eggs of ground-nesting birds, ensuring no opportunity for sustenance is missed. Along Texas's winding rivers and creeks, hogs exploit the fertile banks. Waterways serve as both corridors for movement and sources of abundant food. They root in the mud for freshwater mussels, aquatic plants and bulbs, leaving a network of tracks that mark their passage through the soft earth. In flood-prone lowlands, sows demonstrate remarkable foresight, guiding their piglets to elevated ground before rising waters threaten their safety. Their memory of the landscape and ability to sense subtle environmental changes ensure the survival of the next generation. In the open expanses of farmland and ranchland, hogs become nocturnal raiders. Under the cover of darkness, they infiltrate fields, their movements invisible to most predators and undetected by farmers until morning. They exploit weaknesses in fences, moving in coordinated groups to maximize their impact. Young crops, tender and nutrient-rich, are devoured in synchronized raids that leave little behind. Their intelligence is unmistakable. After encountering traps or deterrents, hogs quickly adapt, altering their routes and behaviors to avoid danger. They learn from each experience, passing knowledge through generations. Each habitat demands a unique set of skills, and feral hogs rise to every challenge, displaying a remarkable range of behaviors shaped by their surroundings. Their problem-solving abilities are on full display as they overcome obstacles, navigate complex environments, and respond to new threats with ingenuity. Whether in the arid brush, dense forest, fertile riverbank, or cultivated field, feral hogs thrive, constantly adapting, learning, and expanding their range. From the piney woods to the rolling plains, every landscape in Texas bears the mark of a species whose survival is defined by relentless adaptation and an unyielding will to endure. Across the vast, untamed stretches of Texas, feral hogs move with a quiet persistence, their presence setting off a chain reaction that reverberates through every layer of the ecosystem. In the filtered light beneath ancient oaks, sounders of hogs root relentlessly, their snouts burrowing deep into the earth. Each movement disturbs the intricate web of roots and soil, exposing the fragile underpinnings of native plant life. The aftermath is stark. Patches of once lush prairie, now stripped bare, the soil exposed and vulnerable. Native grasses, their roots severed, wither in the sun, while the last petals of wildflowers cling to life amid the devastation. From above, the landscape tells a story of upheaval, meadows pockmarked by wallows, their symmetry broken by the scars of foraging. The once continuous tapestry of green is now fragmented, each wound a testament to the hog's relentless search for food. Among the battered earth, rare native plants attempt to push through. Their leaves are torn, their stems bent, and their struggle for sunlight grows more desperate with each passing day. Seedlings, the next generation of Texas flora, are crushed beneath heavy hooves. The delicate architecture of their stems and leaves is shattered before they can anchor themselves in the soil. Seeds, once safely hidden beneath the surface, are unearthed and consumed. The promise of spring is devoured before it can take root, breaking cycles that have persisted for centuries. In the shaded understory, rare orchids and endangered lilies bear the marks of this upheaval. Their blooms, once vibrant, now wilt and fade, their foliage torn and bruised by indiscriminate grazing. The loss of these plants sends ripples through the food web. Bees hover uncertainly over barren ground, searching for nectar that no longer exists. Small mammals forage among the remnants, their diets diminished and their survival uncertain. Without the stabilizing presence of native ground cover, the land itself begins to unravel. Rainfall, once absorbed by dense roots, now rushes over bare earth, carrying away precious nutrients and leaving behind deep scars of erosion. Along creek banks, hogs uproot aquatic plants, sending clouds of sediment into the water. Streams that once ran clear now flow muddy and slow, suffocating aquatic life and altering the delicate chemistry of these habitats. In the wake of destruction, invasive species seize their chance. Hardy, fast-growing weeds colonize the open ground, outcompeting the weakened natives and further shifting the ecological balance. Oak saplings, once destined to become the giants of tomorrow's forests, are choked by thickets of thorny brush. Wildflowers, shaded by aggressive invaders, fade from the landscape. Across prairies, woodlands and wetlands, the silent crisis deepens. Each habitat bears unique scars, yet all share the same story of loss and transformation. Feral hogs, driven by instinct and hunger, are reshaping the botanical heritage of Texas. With every root unearthed and every seed consumed, they rewrite the future of the land, one vanished bloom at a time. In time-lapse, a field of wildflowers fades to bare earth, a haunting reminder of what is lost when balance is broken and the silent crisis goes unseen. In the intricate web of Texas' wild landscapes, predators play a crucial, if often unseen, role in the ongoing struggle against feral hogs. Coyotes, with their sharp intelligence and adaptability, are perhaps the most persistent adversaries of the hog, especially when it comes to vulnerable piglets. Their keen senses allow them to track the faintest rustle in the grass, and their patience is rewarded when a young hog strays from the safety of its sounder. Yet the coyote is only one player in a diverse cast of native predators, each uniquely adapted to exploit opportunities in the hog domain. As dusk settles, the elusive bobcat emerges from the shadows, its tawny coat blending seamlessly with the undergrowth. Bobcats are solitary hunters, relying on stealth and acute hearing to locate prey. Moving with near-silent precision, the bobcat navigates dense brush, its muscles tensed for the sudden burst of speed required to ambush a piglet. Through the lens of a thermal camera, the isolated heat signature of a piglet becomes a beacon in the darkness, a target for any predator skilled enough to hunt by night. The bobcat waits, every muscle coiled, its eyes fixed on the unsuspecting piglet. In these moments, patience is as vital as power. When the time is right, the bobcat strikes with astonishing speed, its attack swift, silent, and rarely observed by human eyes. High above, the red-tailed hawk rides the thermals, its wings outstretched as it surveys the patchwork of fields and forests below. With vision far sharper than any mammal's, the hawk can spot the slightest movement, a piglet venturing into the open, a shadow shifting in the grass. On rare occasions, the hawk dives with breathtaking speed, talons extended to snatch a piglet from the ground, a fleeting but dramatic reminder of the dangers that lurk above. These aerial hunters are opportunists, taking advantage of any lapse in vigilance among the hogs. Deep within the tangled forests, the mountain lion, Texas' most formidable native predator, moves with ghost-like stealth. Its presence is rarely confirmed except by the faintest tracks or a fleeting glimpse through the trees. These apex predators are capable of taking down adult hogs, relying on a combination of raw power, agility, and the element of surprise. Adult feral hogs, however, are not easy prey. Their size, strength, and fierce defensive instincts make them a daunting challenge for even the largest carnivores. But the mountain lion's calculated approach and explosive power make it one of the few predators capable of overcoming a full-grown boar, especially when undue hunger drives it to take risks. Along riverbanks and in dense marshes, the black bear emerges under the cover of darkness. Its omnivorous diet leads it to forage for anything edible, including the occasional hoglet hidden among the reeds. The bear's acute sense of smell guides it to nests of young hogs, though such encounters are rare and often fleeting. When opportunity arises, The bear's powerful jaws and claws make short work of its prize, reinforcing its role as a versatile and opportunistic predator. In the southern wetlands, another ancient predator lies in wait, the American alligator. Perfectly camouflaged in murky water, it is a master of ambush. When a hog ventures too close to the water's edge, the alligator's explosive attack is sudden and decisive, pulling prey beneath the surface in a matter of seconds. Across Texas, this diverse assembly of predators, each with its own hunting style and ecological niche, forms a living network of checks and balances. Their combined efforts exert a subtle but persistent pressure on the feral hog population, targeting the weak, the young, and the unwary. Yet, as the camera sweeps across vast fields teeming with hogs, it becomes clear that the balance is delicate. The sheer reproductive power and adaptability of feral hogs often outpace the efforts of their natural enemies. Hogs continue to expand their range, overrunning farmland and transforming entire ecosystems in their wake. Even as coyotes, bobcats, mountain lions, bears, hawks and alligators adapt and innovate, the relentless tide of hogs tests the limits of nature's resilience. Still, these silent hunters remain essential, weaving through the landscape at dusk and dawn, their presence a testament to the enduring complexity of the wild. In this ongoing drama, every predator and every prey animal shapes the destiny of the land, reminding us that nature's balancing act is both fragile and profound, an ever-evolving story written in the tracks, shadows, and silent struggles of the wild. As the first light of day spills across the Texas rangeland, feral hogs emerge from the shadows, their presence etched into the landscape by fresh tracks and upturned earth. These animals, both survivors and invaders, have become a living symbol of the ongoing struggle between nature's resilience and human ingenuity. Each year, the challenge intensifies. The scars left behind by rooting hogs stretch farther, prompting urgent questions about the future of land management and ecological balance in Texas. Feral hogs move with calculated caution, weaving through dense brush and evading traditional traps. Their intelligence and adaptability have forced a re-evaluation of every management strategy. In response, technology has surged forward. Modern corral traps, equipped with solar-powered sensors and remote triggers, now stand sentinel along well-worn game trails, waiting for the perfect moment to spring. Night vision and thermal imaging have revolutionized surveillance, exposing the secretive nocturnal routines of hogs and providing real-time data for targeted interventions. Yet, for every innovation, the hogs adapt. Patterns of foraging shift, routes change, and the landscape itself becomes a living map of their evolving strategies. Land restoration efforts, from controlled burns to reseeding native plants, offer hope for recovery. But the pace of regrowth is slow, and the threat of renewed damage always looms. Innovative approaches, such as targeted fertility control, are being tested. These experimental methods aim to reduce populations without widespread culling, but their long-term effectiveness remains uncertain. The hog's ability to learn and adapt is remarkable. They communicate danger, alter their movements, and even recognize new threats, challenging every attempt at control. Along riverbanks and wetlands, the delicate balance between native wildlife and invasive hogs is on full display. Each interaction shapes the future of these ecosystems. As the sun sets, the question lingers: can innovation outpace adaptation? Will new technologies and ecological strategies finally tip the scales? Each new tool brings promise, but also new challenges. Hogs learn quickly, and every failed attempt teaches them to be more elusive. Advanced monitoring systems now track hog movements in real time, generating data that guides future interventions. But the landscape is always changing, and so are the hogs. The road ahead is uncertain. The fight against feral hogs will demand persistence, creativity, and a willingness to adapt alongside the very animals we seek to manage. As sunlight glints off a distant herd, the story of Texas feral hogs remains unfinished, a testament to the complexity and unpredictability of life on a wild and changing frontier. Beneath the dense canopy of willow and cypress, Texas rivers flow in winding ribbons, their banks teeming with life. Here the silent drama of survival unfolds every dawn, unseen by most, but profoundly felt by all. In the hush of early morning, a soundless procession descends to the water's edge. Feral hogs, their dark forms mirrored in the glassy surface. With practiced efficiency, the hogs plunge into the shallows, rooting through soft mud and tangled reeds. Each powerful snout churns the sediment, releasing clouds of silt that drift downstream. Aquatic plants are torn from their moorings, their roots exposed and left to wither under the rising sun. The once clear water grows turbid. Sunlight now struggles to penetrate the murky depths, and native fish, sensitive to even small changes, scatter in search of refuge. Along the bank, the destruction is methodical. Fragile nests of ground-nesting birds lie crushed beneath cloven hooves. Amphibians, dependent on undisturbed pools for breeding, are forced to relocate or perish. The hog's relentless foraging exposes bare soil, setting the stage for erosion. Each rainfall carries away more earth, widening the banks and silting downstream habitats vital for turtles and mussels. In the wetlands, the impact deepens. Hogs wallow in shallow ponds, collapsing the intricate root systems that anchor emergent plants. These wallows become stagnant, breeding grounds for invasive insects and disease. Waterfowl, once abundant in the lush marsh, find their food sources depleted and nesting cover destroyed. As the seasons turn, the cumulative damage alters the flow of entire river systems. Channels shift, oxbows fill with silt, and native vegetation gives way to hardy invaders. Even the air is changed, where once the scent of wild mint and water lilies carried on the breeze. Now there is only the lingering musk of disturbed earth. Yet in every corner life tries to adapt. Tiny fish dart through submerged hog prints, and resilient plants push new shoots through trampled mud. The ecosystem bends, but never breaks, caught in a cycle of destruction and renewal, forever reshaped by the relentless presence of feral hogs along Texas' vital waterways. As night descends across open fields and shadowed forests, a silent network awakens. Scattered across the landscape, trail cameras blink to life. Infrared lenses capturing every movement, every rustle in the undergrowth. Motion-activated sensors, disguised as fallen branches or rocks, quietly record the passage of feral hogs, their heat signatures glowing against the cool earth. Overhead, drones glide on whispering rotors, their thermal imaging piercing the darkness. From above, the wandering herds become clusters of glowing embers moving through the patchwork of farmland and forest. Real-time footage streams back to digital command centers where algorithms pass the data, mapping routes, estimating numbers, predicting patterns. Beneath the surface, GPS collars fitted to select hogs transmit precise coordinates, painting invisible trails across digital maps. Each ping reveals a story. The midnight crossing of a river, the sudden dispersal after a distant gunshot, the slow encroachment into new territory. Data flows into sophisticated models, forecasting the next surge, the next vulnerable field, the next threatened wetland. Automated traps, triggered remotely by satellite signals, stand ready in the darkness. When a sounder enters, gates close with mechanical precision, minimizing stress and maximizing capture. Sensors measure weight, count individuals, and even sample DNA, building a genetic archive of the invaders. Across the landscape, solar-powered acoustic monitors listen for the telltale grunts and squeals of foraging hogs. Their recordings, analyzed by machine learning, differentiate hogs from deer, cattle, or coyotes, alerting wildlife managers to new incursions before the first route is upturned. In this high-tech war, the landscape itself becomes an active participant. Fences pulse with low-voltage currents guided by smart controllers that adapt to hog behavior. Remote-controlled deterrents, flashing lights, bursts of sound disrupt the nocturnal raids, pushing the herds away from vulnerable crops. Through the lens of innovation, the relentless march of feral hogs is no longer unseen. Each advance weaves together ancient instincts and modern science, revealing, tracking, and challenging the invaders at every turn. In the ongoing struggle, technology offers hope, not for elimination, but for a fragile balance, where knowledge becomes the sharpest tool in the fight to reclaim the land. Beneath the tangled canopy and across the open grasslands, a different kind of surveillance unfolds. Here, native predators, silent, patient, and expertly adapted, move through the shadows. Bobcats, with their tufted ears and amber eyes, pad softly along game trails, their senses tuned for the faintest disturbance. In the deepening dusk, a mountain lion stalks the edge of a hog wallow, muscles coiled, breath controlled, every step calculated to perfection. From the treetops, great horned owls sweep low in near silence, their talons poised for opportunity. Juvenile hoglets, straying from the sounder, become targets for these aerial hunters. On rocky outcrops, black bears root through underbrush, drawn by the scent of piglets or the remains of a failed raid. Each encounter is a test of instinct and experience, sometimes a brief chase, sometimes a sudden, decisive strike. Rivers and wetlands become hunting grounds for alligators, lying motionless at the water's edge. When a careless hog ventures too close, there's a burst of motion, a swirl of water, and the struggle is over in seconds. Even smaller predators, foxes, eagles, and snapping turtles, find their opportunities in the margins, taking young or injured hogs when the chance arises. These native hunters rarely threaten the adult hogs, too large, too aggressive, too wary. But their presence shapes the sounder's behavior, scattering piglets, thinning the ranks, and forcing vigilance at every turn. In this quiet contest, the balance is subtle, ever-shifting, and largely unseen by human eyes. The landscape itself becomes a chessboard, where every predator plays a part in holding the feral tide at bay. It is a natural resistance, measured not in dramatic confrontations, but in the persistent, everyday pressures that slow the invaders' relentless spread. Through these ancient relationships, the wild reminds us, even the most formidable newcomers must answer to the old laws of survival. Beneath the surface, the true legacy of feral hogs is written in the land itself. Where once wildflowers painted the prairies and native grasses rippled in the wind, now barren patches scar the earth. Deep, muddy wallows fill with stagnant water, breeding grounds for insects and silent warnings of disrupted cycles. Over time, the relentless rooting of hogs tears at the soil, exposing roots, unearthing seeds, and setting off a slow unravelling of the ecosystem's delicate fabric. In the forests, ancient trees struggle as their seedlings vanish, devoured before they can take hold. The understory thins, and the chorus of songbirds grows quieter, their nesting grounds trampled and food sources depleted. Amphibians, once thriving in shaded pools, vanish as their habitats are churned and dried. Even the insects, beetles, butterflies, pollinators find fewer places to lay their eggs or gather nectar. Across the grasslands, the loss of native plants opens the door to invasive species, further crowding out what little remains. The land's ability to hold water fades, leading to increased runoff, erosion, and the slow silting of streams. When the rains finally come, the water rushes away, carving gullies where meadows once grew. Night falls, and the landscape remembers what was lost. The calls of displaced wildlife echo faintly, a reminder of balance undone. The scars left by feral hogs are not just wounds, they are warnings, etched into the earth, signalling a future that grows more uncertain with every passing season. Only time will tell if nature can heal, or if these echoes will shape the land for generations to come. Beneath the rolling fields and stretching highways of Texas, a silent toll is mounting. Feral hogs, relentless in their search for food, leave more than ecological scars. They carve deep into the state's economy. Every year, these animals inflict hundreds of millions of dollars in damages, their impact rippling through agriculture, infrastructure, and beyond. Sweeping drone shots reveal vast fields of corn and wheat, their orderly rows disrupted by winding trails of upturned soil. In the dark of night, thermal imagery captures hogs rooting through crops, flattening young stalks and devouring seeds meant for harvest. The loss is immediate. Fields once destined for market now bear the cost of lost yields and replanting. But the damage doesn't end at the farm's edge. Along rural roadsides, aerial footage exposes collapsed fences and breached irrigation ditches, their walls eroded by hog activity. Water lines rupture, flooding pastures and draining precious resources. In the stillness of a cattle pasture, a close-up lingers on a hoofprint pressed deep into the mud, a subtle reminder of livestock at risk, injured by hidden holes or displaced from feeding grounds. Beyond the fields, the cost spreads. Animated overlays show a web of expenses. Increased insurance claims, rising maintenance for roads and equipment, and the price of relentless repairs. Tractors idle beside piles of debris, while grain silos stand empty, their bounty lost to the night's marauders. The economic ripple extends to the community. Local businesses feel the strain as farmers tighten budgets and rural schools face shrinking tax bases. Each dollar lost in the field echoes across towns, shaping futures in ways unseen. In the end, the true price of the feral hog invasion is measured not just in damaged crops or broken fences, but in the enduring burden carried by those who work the land. The challenge is ongoing, and the stakes grow higher with every season, demanding new solutions and a renewed commitment to safeguarding Texas's agricultural heart. Beneath the bristled hide and restless hooves of the Texas feral hog lies a story written in DNA, a code of survival honed across continents and centuries. In the hush of dawn, a thermal camera tracks a sow, guiding her litter through dew-laden grass, their movements synchronized, each piglet a testament to generations of adaptation. Microscopic visuals reveal the secrets within strands of genetic material twisting and coiling, marked by mutations that grant these animals their notorious resilience. Unlike their domesticated ancestors, feral hogs in Texas possess genes that accelerate muscle growth and bolster their immune systems, making them formidable against disease and injury. Animated overlays highlight genetic markers for heightened senses, keen smell, acute hearing and night vision, traits that allow them to forage and evade predators under the cover of darkness. Aerial footage glides over a patchwork of habitats, dense thickets, open plains, and winding creek beds. In each, the hogs flourish, their genetic diversity fueling rapid adaptation to new environments. Close-ups capture the subtle differences in coat colour and body size, evidence of ongoing natural selection as only the strongest and most adaptable survive to breed. Even as drought grips the land, slow-motion footage shows hogs rooting for hidden tubers and water sources, their metabolism tuned to extract every drop of nourishment. Genetic resilience is their shield, enabling them to thrive where others falter. Across Texas, the code of the wild continues to evolve, shaping a creature uniquely suited to its domain. The feral hog's genetic legacy is a living testament to nature's relentless ingenuity, a silent force driving the invasion ever forward, far beyond the reach of fences or fields. As the sun rises, the camera lingers on a solitary boar, silhouetted against the horizon. In its DNA, the future of the Texas wild is being written, one adaptation at a time. With each changing season, the landscape of Texas becomes a living map, guiding the movements of the feral hog. In spring, drone footage reveals scattered sounders, family groups, emerging from the cover of mesquite thickets. Driven by instinct, they follow the scent of fresh growth, rooting through tender shoots and wildflowers that blanket the rejuvenated fields. Overhead, synchronized visuals track their winding trails, the ground beneath them marked by churned earth and scattered footprints. As summer's heat intensifies, thermal imagery captures the hogs seeking refuge in shaded creek beds and muddy wallows. Water becomes their compass, and their migration tightens around shrinking ponds and hidden springs. Animated graphics overlay their paths, highlighting the routes that weave through parched grasslands and dense underbrush, always converging where moisture lingers longest. When autumn arrives, high-resolution night cameras document the sounders expanding their range, foraging beneath pecan trees and along the edges of harvested fields. The abundance of fallen nuts and crops draws them together in larger numbers, their movements precise and synchronized, guided by the rhythms of the harvest. Winter's chill brings new challenges. Aerial shots show hogs navigating frost-laced meadows, their breath visible in the early morning light. They press closer to wooded areas, using dense cover for warmth and protection. Animated maps trace their seasonal migrations, revealing a network of well-trodden corridors connecting feeding grounds to safe havens. Across the year, the feral hog's journey is a masterclass in adaptation, a choreography dictated by weather, resources, and the unyielding need to survive. Each season etches new patterns across the Texas wild as the hogs move in silent synchrony with the land, ever attuned to its shifting pulse. Across the ever-changing landscapes of Texas, a silent campaign unfolds, one that pits innovation against instinct in the ongoing battle with feral hogs. As lethal measures spark debate, landowners and researchers turn to non-lethal strategies, seeking to outsmart these elusive invaders without a single shot fired. Aerial footage glides over miles of reinforced fencing, their steel grids stretching along field edges and riverbanks. Infrared overlays highlight sounders as they approach, testing these boundaries with uncanny persistence. Some fences hold fast, diverting the hogs along predetermined corridors. Others, breached by sheer determination or a momentary lapse in maintenance, reveal the relentless nature of the challenge. Cut to motion-triggered gates, their mechanisms triggered only by specific weights or movements. In slow motion, a group of hogs hesitates, sniffing the unfamiliar barriers. Some retreat, wary of the new obstacle. Others probe further, eventually turning away. Animated infographics display data-reduced crop damage in protected zones, but also increased activity just beyond the deterrents. Elsewhere, synchronized time-lapse visuals show fields treated with natural repellents and chemical deterrents. Under ultraviolet light, trails of scent markers are visible, outlining invisible boundaries across the land. For days, the hogs avoid these areas, but eventually the allure of food and water overcomes their caution. The effect fades and the cycle resumes. In the wetlands, drone footage captures the strategic release of boar-specific contraceptive baits. Animated diagrams illustrate the science, targeted formulas designed to disrupt reproduction within sounders. Over months, population models shift, showing potential declines. Yet the visuals also reveal the limitations. Uneven bait uptake, non-target species, and the resilience of established populations. Finally, satellite imagery zooms out, overlaying the patchwork of non-lethal interventions across Texas. The boundaries are dynamic, constantly tested by the hog's adaptability and intelligence. Each method yields partial victories, delaying, diverting, or diminishing the impact, but never erasing the threat entirely. In the delicate balance between protection and coexistence, non-lethal control methods offer hope and hard lessons. The battle lines are drawn not in confrontation, but in innovation, a testament to both the ingenuity of humans and the tenacity of the wild. As the sun rises over the patchwork of Texas rangeland, another front in the battle against feral hogs is quietly unfolding, not in the fields, but in the halls of governance. Sweeping drone shots transition to animated overlays of the Texas Capitol, its domed silhouette standing in stark contrast to the sprawling wilds below. Superimposed graphics highlight legislative milestones, timelines pulsing with key dates and regulatory shifts. Infographics animate the evolution of Texas state law. The classification of feral hogs as a non-game species, the removal of hunting restrictions, and the authorization of aerial control measures. Color-coded maps illustrate the spread of county-level initiatives, each region responding with tailored ordinances from bounty programs to landowner incentives. Synchronized visualizations show policy in action. Satellite imagery zooms in on designated hunting zones, overlays tracking the impact of expanded hunting seasons and the introduction of trapping permits. Bar graphs rise and fall, reflecting the ebb and flow of hog populations in response to regulatory change. A split-screen montage follows the path of new legislation, from committee hearings to the governor's desk, with scrolling text summarizing the language of recent bills. Animated icons represent stakeholders, agricultural agencies, wildlife departments and conservation groups, each influencing the policy landscape in subtle but significant ways. Elsewhere, archival footage is transformed with digital effects, depicting the deployment of state-funded research grants and pilot programs. Charts track the allocation of resources, while dynamic maps visualize the rollout of innovative management strategies, from fencing subsidies to contraceptive research. Finally, a wide aerial panorama pulls back to reveal the mosaic of legal and policy frameworks now layered across Texas. The boundaries are not just physical, but administrative, lines drawn by lawmakers, shaped by science, and tested by the relentless adaptability of the feral hog. In the end, the legislative response is an evolving force, an ongoing negotiation between public safety, ecological stewardship, and the realities of a wild adversary. The law, like the land itself, remains in flux, searching for equilibrium in the face of an ever-shifting threat. As dawn sweeps across the Texas landscape, a new chapter in the feral hog saga begins to unfold. Not in the pastures or policy chambers, but in the possibilities shimmering just beyond the horizon. Hyper-realistic time-lapse footage captures the slow transformation of farmland and forest, shadows shifting as years pass in seconds. Overlay animations trace potential future scenarios: controlled population decline, stabilization, or unchecked expansion, each path illustrated with evolving heat maps and predictive models pulsing with data. Cut to a digital rendering of next-generation monitoring systems, a network of AI-enabled sensors and autonomous drones silently patrolling vast stretches of rangeland. Real-time visualizations display their seamless coordination, mapping hog movements with pinpoint accuracy and alerting landowners via interactive dashboards. Sophisticated algorithms analyze patterns, forecasting migrations and identifying emerging hotspots before damage strikes. Transition to a simulated cross-section of the Earth, revealing the underground impacts of hog routing over time, followed by a gradual restoration as experimental habitat recovery techniques take effect. Split-screen graphics compare the effectiveness of advanced non-lethal deterrents, bioacoustic barriers, automated repellents, and precision fencing, each device illustrated with animated infographics showing reductions in crop loss and ecosystem disruption. Panoramic satellite imagery reveals a patchwork of collaborative land management projects, cooperative corridors, conservation easements, and regional response teams, each initiative marked by dynamic icons that pulse with activity. Overlays highlight the integration of genetic research, depicting the potential of targeted gene drives and immunocontraception, their progress tracked by virtual timelines and regulatory flowcharts. Finally, a sweeping drone shot rises above the ever-shifting boundaries of Texas, the land stitched together by technology, innovation, and an evolving understanding of wild resilience. The future of feral hog management is not a single solution, but a living tapestry, woven from science, strategy, and the relentless pursuit of balance. As the state looks forward, the challenge remains to coexist, to adapt, and to shape a tomorrow where the wild and the managed find a new equilibrium.